The basics of the free will defense can be stated relatively simply. Free will is extremely valuable, so God allows us to have it. But since it is misused, great suffering results. Nonetheless, the immense value of free will outweighs the suffering. Let's take a closer look at that argument. The basic idea is that God created a good world, and an indispensable element of that good world he chose to create was that it contains rational creatures such as ourselves with free will, which it is argued is a great value. But why is a world with human beings who are free so valuable? Well, the reason for this is that we think of free will as being the foundation of morality. This goes back to an idea that we discussed back in Module 7. If I freely choose to help someone, I could have chosen not to, but I decide to help this person, then I've done a good act that deserves moral praise. If I had no choice in the matter, we feel that the act would not really be good, or at least, even if the act itself is good, the person who committed the act cannot be called good, since he did not choose to act that way. They were acting in a way that had been determined by prior causes. Similarly, if I do something wrong, the reason that I can be morally judged and deserve punishment is surely that I chose to do wrong. If again I was somehow pre-programmed to do wrong, we'd hesitate to say that I was to blame for my action. So the point is that free will is valuable since it seems to be the foundation of moral value in this world. Now, the crucial step that we need to take in order to defend against the problem of evil is the following. God cannot control our choices if they are to be free. For if free choice requires that I choose between X and Y, if it requires alternate possibilities, then God cannot be in a position to ensure that I choose X. To do so would be to remove my free will, which, remember, we've already established to be of great value. But if free will is necessary for the world to have value, and God cannot ensure that we only ever choose to do good, then there will inevitably be people who misuse this freedom and do evil. But free will, it is argued, is of such value that its existence outweighs the evils that are its inevitable side effect. Eliezer Berkovitz offers a free will defense in his book Faith After the Holocaust, appealing to the biblical idea of Hester Panim, or the hiding of God's face, and he summarizes the argument succinctly as follows. Man alone can create value. God is value. But if man alone is the creator of values, one who strives for the realization of ideals, then he must have freedom of choice and freedom of action. And his freedom must be respected by God himself. God cannot, as a rule, intervene whenever man's use of freedom displeases him. It's true that if he did so, the perpetration of evil would be rendered impossible, but so would the possibility for good also disappear. If God did not respect man's freedom to choose his course in personal responsibility, not only would the moral good and evil be abolished from this earth, but man himself would go with them. For freedom and responsibility are the very essence of man. Without them, man is not human. So the argument is, a world with free beings is overall a world with greater value, a better world, than a world with creatures whose acts are determined, and such a world inevitably runs the risk of containing much evil. Now note, God could have chosen not to create human beings at all, or he could have created a world full of pre-programmed beings who would always do good. The point here, though, is that he could not have made a world anything like ours without creating free creatures. Again, Berkovitz notes, therefore, that the real question to which all of this reduces is not why is there undeserved suffering, but why is there man? And he who asks the question about injustice in history really asks, why a world, why creation? It's not very profitable to argue with God as to why he created this world. He obviously decided to take his chance with man. He decided for this world. Given man, God himself could eliminate moral evil and the suffering caused by it only by eliminating man. In the first lecture for this module, we noted that there is a distinction between moral and natural evils. Now, since our topic in this module is the Holocaust, which is clearly a moral evil, we'll leave aside the problem of natural evils, though it clearly is very important to deal with if one is concerned to produce a comprehensive theodicy. For the moment, though, the free will defense would cope with the Holocaust, so we'll quit while we're ahead.